peoples.
Hey guys,
It's us again. I'm Lisa.
and I'm Lonie.
And this is A
Whole Mom.
A Whole Mom is dedicated to those of us who deal with the everyday struggles of adulting, in addition to being somebody's whole mom out here. So we want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of motherhood. We are not trained therapists in this realm or counselors or anything like that. But we are two single mothers who are sharing our own perspective on this mom thing.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable, if you will. In hopes that you don't feel like you're alone, but also that you will feel free to join in on the conversation. So with all that being said, today's conversation.
We have a hot topic for you guys. So Lisa chose today's topic, which is a very hot one right now. So looking at some comments from IG live video from Lil Boosie.
Lil Boosie, badass himself.
Whew.
So basically, our friend, not our friend. Basically,
This man.
This man, he started off with, yeah, you gotta train him.
Train him up. Train him right.
Yeah, train him right.
And I just want to know, what are we training them for?
What are we training them for? So he said he trained, you gotta train these boys right. And then he moved on to say that he had gotten his son at age 12, and well, he said 12 or 13.
And
his son and his nephew. He had got them some head.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also
a whole grown woman.
Yeah, he made sure that we understood that it was a whole grown woman that did it. A whole grown woman. And that what did he say? It was like, yeah, she did it right because
She did him right.
Because she did
Because
him.
she did me right.
Yeah. So he vouched for that. It was like some real good stuff because he had tried it. And
I just want to say that I just watched a short clip of the live, and when I heard it, I was disgusted.
honestly, I didn't actually listen to it until a minute ago. I read the quotes and I was like, wow. And I was about to listen to it, but my phone was like taking like 2 seconds too long to load. And I was like, you know what, God? I don't need to hear it. That's why you did that, because I don't need to hear it. Let me slide my phone over here. But yeah, I was like, I can't watch that. I can't. What is wrong with people? And then a lot of people was like, call CPS. I also thought he was in Atlanta, and I realized he's in Louisiana, because people was looking up the laws as far as like statutory rape in Louisiana, what constitutes that, the statute of limitations, all that kind of stuff. And they was like, y'all need to report Boosie.
I mean, if for nothing else, that's abuse. I feel like we can put that under the category of abuse.
That, yeah, definitely. That's definitely abuse.
Horrible parenting. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Horrible parenting. As a mother of 2 sons, I wish I thought it.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
I wish I thought it.
And then, okay, so it's all just, it's frustrating and flabbergasting, honestly. But this also comes from a man who was like rolling up on his live before, and like the kids were there. And somebody was like, Boosie, you be smoking in front of your kids? And he was like, yeah, these my kids. Which, however you feel about marijuana, smoking in general, or drinking, whatever, I just feel like,
That's your thing.
come on, son. And now you out here telling people that you didn't took your...
How old is Boosie? Do we know?
We
Is
can
he
look it
like,
up.
I don't know how old he is, but I feel like, I mean, people that were raised.
Okay.
I think there's just a lot. There's a lot of generational stuff. I really thought he was older than that, but
according to Google, he's 37.
I feel like I thought he was maybe in his 40s already.
He looked like it.
And it's just, I don't understand. What are you training them for? Are you training them to know how to orgasm? To
hold it? What?
You're getting them some head.
Oh my God. And a lot of people were saying that, and I don't know if these people were condoning what he did, but they were saying that probably happened to him. So a lot of people now, the conversation is, a lot of our men basically were statutorily raped. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, honestly. But I don't think that because it happened to him, that means that it was right, one. It doesn't mean that he should be perpetrating it on his own children and nephews and nieces either. And it doesn't mean that that's something that we want to continue.
Some of that stuff has to stop where it was.
Yes.
A lot of those things need to stop way back in the day.
We gotta let it go. We gotta leave it there.
Just because it was okay. Somebody said something to me. They asked me probably a week or two ago, Yolanda, why is it that, so much was okay back in the day and now they're saying, there's something wrong with it. And this conversation was specifically about, kids being taken away by DSS and CPS and things like that. Well, a lot of those things, kids probably should have been removed from homes back in the day.
Facts. Clearly, this is the traumatic stuff that's happening. I understand. And he said that's how it's supposed to be. That's what I was just blown. Because to say, this is what happened to me or whatever, and, I want to make sure they're ready, or as disgusting as it is, I would have been like... But to be that's how it's supposed to be. You really are sitting in it, doubling down. He was like, I don't care what y'all got to say. Nah, that's what we doing, and that's how it's done.
No.
Oh, Lord. I just can't. I can't.
Conversations need to be had as far as sex is concerned.
Definitely.
Oral or any other.
And I feel like so many traumas that people have endured in their life, they don't even see it as a trauma.
They don't see it as a trauma.
And that's a part of the that whole thing is a part of the reason why trauma cycles continue. Okay, this happened to you. You haven't examined it. You haven't thought about it. You thought about it with bravado. Oh yeah, I was 12 and I got some head. So you thought that was so positive, such a positive thing, that you needed to make sure it happened to your son. Not even if it happens and he comes to me and we talk about it, I'm going to guide him through it and, it's cool and I'll take him out for ice cream.
You're initiating.
Yeah, you feel nah, I got to make sure he gets it done. And a grown woman, I guess he couldn't, solicit another child to do it. But
I got to make him a man, and this is how you make him a man.
This is how you make him
No,
a
sir,
man.
no, ma'am.
Boosie, we are upset and we're disgusted. But
it's really sad.
It really is.
And I think it just, like you were saying earlier, just because it happened then does not mean that it has to continue now.
It doesn't.
With so many things. And I think the world is just so obsessed with, making your son a man, a manly man, whatever it is. What does it mean to be a man? Does getting head make you a man?
I think we need to re-examine that.
So much.
So many things about manhood and how we bring children up to become men is concerning. I'm
still kind of speechless.
That's crazy.
Not speechless, but just flabbergasted.
It is flabbergasting. Honestly, there's no better word for it. I was like, what? When I first saw, people was like, Lil Boosie is a rapist. Like, and I'm like, what's going on? What'd he say? What'd he do? So I went to search it, and I was just like, is that a joke?
Are you kidding me? Not only that it's almost like when people sell their children for money or for...
That's what I was thinking. And when you said abuse, I was like, oh my God, because I hadn't even thought of that. But really...
Like back in the day, like when you would marry your 13-year-old daughter off to this 30-something-year-old man.
People like letting their kids have sex with people for drugs and stuff like that. It's sick. It's sick.
It's insane.
That was a mistake. And for the people who saying, oh, well, you know, a lot of kids lose their virginity young, or, you know, they do this at 12, or I was doing this at 12. Also, there's a big difference between two 12-year-olds exploring or whatever, and
a parent
hiring another grown person to perform. It probably was like, oh, that was great head. My son is down the hallway. Like, what? I can't. I'm not. I won't.
It's ridiculous.
With that being said,
that is rape.
It is rape. At the least, abuse.
It's abuse on Boosie's part. And he takes part in the rape also.
Was he watching?
Probably. How do you even know if your 13-year-old was ready for something like that?
You don't know.
You just push them and tell them that they're ready?
Yes.
You gonna do this because I said so. Oh. Parenting.
Jeez. That's crazy brand of it.
And so, like, one of the other things that we were talking about was that double standard.
Yes. So that goes into what our conversation for today was about. Is the whole double standard with how we present sex to children. And so, because a lot of people brought up, if he had hired someone to give his daughter head, there would be way fewer people
that would be
defending him or on board with it.
Yeah.
And I think that is very true. And so I think that speaks to how we present sex to our young people. Mm-hmm. The conversations that we're having around sex, and what their expectations are as we send them off into the world. So,
jeez.
Our own perspectives as a youth.
Gosh. Well, for me, I was definitely raised in the church. Holiness, apostolic. You don't have sex, you're not going to have sex. And if I find out you do, I'm going to break your legs. I remember the break your legs part.
That was like an actual thing that was said.
Yes,
those actual words.
I'll break your legs.
I'll break your legs.
I feel like that's like one of the biggest and only things that I remember, other than you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. So it's all about all these do's, all these don'ts. Never really a conversation about do's.
The do's.
What sex really is. So, the birds and the bees and just all this crazy talk. Like, let's just get down to the anatomy piece of it. This is what happens. It does not just happen between two people that love each other. Use protection. There's all these diseases out here. There's so much that comes with that conversation.
There's so many pieces. It needs to be like a series of conversations.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, like, once your kids open up the door to those conversations, dive in.
Fact.
Dive in. They open up the door. What do you want to know? Like, how can I help you understand these things? And I think, like, right now they're doing, like, family education in, like, 4th and 5th grade, maybe.
So, yeah.
And
we started in 4th grade, too. That's what I was going to ask. Did y'all do that in school?
We did. But I feel like they talked about family life like earlier, but I don't really remember like actual sex talk probably until like 9th grade health class.
But like anatomy and your uterus. I just remember pictures of uteruses. And then I remember the first time they put a penis on the board and everybody was like, because they separated us.
Yes.
The girls and the boys. So we were in like our own class and they were like, you can ask questions and blah, blah, blah. Oh, honey, she put that penis on the board and everybody was like, oh my God.
Knowing they had probably already seen one or two before. I don't even think I remember that part. For real, like my memory of like family life, sex education, what I remember right now is Miss Saunders' 9th grade health class.
Oh wow. Friend, right?
Like that's what I remember. I don't remember the family life like in middle school or whatever. I just don't remember.
I feel like I remember 4th grade and then like it continuing in health class.
Yeah.
You know, you would do like half a year of gym and then half a year of health class. And so they would talk about it a little bit in health class, really all the way through. Mm-hmm. But my earliest memories of like sex or like any understanding of sex, first of all, we ain't never had no, this is the birds and the bees and this is what happens and this is how it goes. That was never given to me. No. And I don't feel like it was ever really like, don't have sex and sex is bad and you're gonna burn in hell either. Like I also wasn't like super churchy growing up. But I remember like in the car, this is my earliest memory of me thinking about sex. I remember being in the car, I was probably like in 2nd grade or something. And Knocking the Boots was on the radio. And I remember music like really shaping how I thought about a lot of things. And the music that my parents was listening to was unedited and it was raw. And they played a lot on the radio.
They was doing the butt.
Yeah. And doing it. Oh my God. I knew all the words to doing it in like 1st grade.
Push.
I used to like doing it. That LL Cool J, that song is so nasty. And I know all the words. Play it right now and I will say all the words. And I have known them for 25 years. But anyway, H-Town, Knocking the Boots was on the radio. And I like listening to the words. So I feel like at that point, like I realized sex was something that you do naked. And like in my head, it was, you know, a man and a woman naked and they're on top of each other. But I remember listening to the words of the song and like envisioning their feet hanging off the end of the bed with boots on. And the boots are like knocking together. And I was like, oh man, I bet that's like bomb.
Yeah.
Like
you're supposed to have your boots on so they can knock. You gotta hear that noise.
I remember as a kid being like, oh, when I grow up, I'm gonna give me some of that. Like feeling like, sounds like this thing is fun.
That's why everybody had them combat boots.
I was like, I'm definitely into this. Gonna do this when I grow up.
Oh my gosh.
And then
did you ever do it, Lisa? With the boots?
No, the boots. I was like, did I ever do it? Wouldn't have this vlog. I never did it.
Oh wow.
No, not with the boots. So, what's up? Get at me. Send me a pair of boots if you're down.
Man. Okay. Oh man.
But yeah, so I feel like that was my earliest memory, and then like family life, but it was never like a continuation of the conversation in family life at home. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like did they even read the papers that said, do you want to opt out? Like, is it okay for your child to attend this family life or whatever?
I feel like people read that, but then like it wasn't like, oh, what you talk about in family life today? Because that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, all right. Like, and I mean, you know, we all work from where we at, so there's no shade to my parents or anything like that. But it just wasn't a conversation that was had. So a lot of my ideas about sex were formed from my peers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Soul food.
Oh, soul
Scene
food.
in Soul Food.
So many sex scenes in Soul Food. When they were in the bathroom, when he cheated with her sister or whatever.
The cousin.
With the cousin. And when dude cheated with the sister that he ended up marrying too in the backseat of the car. And she caught them. So many sex scenes in Soul Food. Soul Food might have taught me more than I thought.
I remember. That's what I remember. Soul Food. I'm sure there were probably some others, but
yeah, I remember also in 5th grade, a bunch of kids was like over there whispering in the corner, and I'm just like doing my work because I'm a nerd. But then like somebody came over and was like, "You know what a blowjob is?" And I was like, "A blow dryer?" And it was like, "A blowjob." And I was like, "A blow dryer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know what a blow dryer is. Duh." Like, I use it when I get a perm and then I blow my hair. Like, and they was like, "Oh my gosh." And then somebody was like, "It's when," I don't know if they actually said the D word or what. But they basically explained it to me. And that's when I learned about a blowjob in 5th grade. I was like, bro, this is wild. Also, that class. Shout out to my 5th grade class. You know who you are. I didn't want to miss a day of school.
Oh, y'all was wildin'.
Bruh, I used to be like, I got to go to school today. Sick and all. I think I had the best attendance ever that year.
Oh my God.
Their class was wild. They was wild.
That's so funny how, like you grow up in different areas, and then just like your upbringing all together, like how different that is, because like you remember things from 5th grade and mine were more towards like probably 8th or 9th, and God,
she's a country mouse.
Yeah.
And well, I guess city for this area. But
just look how interesting that is. And I feel like nowadays, like all the kids, there's so much technology and they have access to so many things. Like these kids have already watched porn and by 5th grade probably.
Girl,
they've seen something.
I'm sure they have, because I had watched porn by 5th grade.
I mean, because now like it's all the little anime characters or whatever kind of character. You're thinking it's a cartoon, but they're having sex and their big boobs are out here and jeez.
Anime porn?
Louise.
Drop us a line if you're into anime porn, because I need to understand why.
It's just so much out here, and I'm a boy mom, so
they have access to so much.
Yeah, I can't really relate to being like a girl mom, and I feel like, I'm trying to raise my sons in the way that whether they were girls, like teaching them about the same things and having the same but also different conversations, because you have different anatomies. So, I definitely started off with, we use the words. We say penis. We say vagina. That's what it is. Like, nobody touches this. And, I have a teenage son. So, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Are you are you thinking about doing this, that, and the third? Like, I think it's so important to have conversations with your kids about just everything, like just checking in here and there, not pressuring them.
Okay.
Because then they do shut down.
Yeah. That's
not pressuring them to have the conversation, but if the opportunity,
letting them know you're open, right?
Yes. Like, I'm always here for you. I'm not going to pressure you, but if you have any questions, please feel free to come to me. I do that about sex, drugs, alcohol, all of that.
Yeah. So, friend, how did you, because your kids are older.
Yes.
So, I'm assuming you've already started having these conversations.
Absolutely.
So, when do you feel like you started? And then, like, what's the foundation for you?
Without telling all of their business. Because they're real serious about that. I don't know, maybe I started around 10. It depends on what the conversation was. Right. Like if we're talking about body parts and things like that, of course that starts earlier on. And, but I don't even know if I could put a number on it, but maybe it.
I mean, I feel like honestly, it starts with labeling their body parts and letting them know.
Yeah, that started early.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like, I think we talked about this before. Like, my son, I don't want to say he got in trouble at daycare, but calling his penis a penis, and I was like, you know, when I was questioned about it, I was like, yeah,
get with him.
That's what it is. That's how we teach him to refer to his body part. That's his penis.
What did they want him to say?
I guess wee probably, pee, whatever terms they're using.
All the things. Okay.
So, yeah, but I think my whole thing is, you know, when that opportunity presents itself, when your kids ask questions, if you don't have the answer right then and there and say, hold on, like, let me check on some things. I want to make sure I'm getting you the right information. I don't know if I have the answer to your question right now. Let's do some research. So doing that research with them.
Using that same internet.
Right.
That they could use to,
yes. Have them Google it, you Google it, and see what y'all come up with together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go about doing things and taking advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves. The shows that your kids are watching, the movies, like, tell me, like, what are you into nowadays? What's happening in these shows? What do you think about that? So you can do this from little kids on up, like, pausing in between, like, how do you and you know, like, you can do that, like, when you're trying to teach kids how to respond to emotions and you know, how would that make you feel? Have you ever been through anything like that? Just, you know, like, you got to learn how to throw it in there whenever you can.
Slide in. That's how we trying to tell people. Because a lot of times, like, you know, people, they tell you, like, don't use TV to teach your kids stuff or whatever. But, like, you can use TV, but you have to be interactive with the TV.
Yes.
And that's for anything across the board, not just sex. If you teaching colors or whatever, like, don't just let Dora teach all the Spanish.
Right.
You reinforce those words. You be like, oh, what Dora say about that red dress? Roll? Or whatever. But yeah, I feel you. So how do you feel like it's changed as they've gotten older? Especially with a high schooler.
A high schooler?
What is that conversation
For
like?
me, well, I feel like for both of my kids, I have one going into middle school. We're just very straightforward, very blunt, but being a woman, raising boys, you still have to be not too forceful, because then they were like, oh God, Mom. So then it goes to the conversation that they don't or won't have with you, calling up Dad and saying, you know, like, have you guys talked about A, B, C, and D? Like, you know, what has his response been? Has he said anything to you about whatever? And, you know, trying to make sure that you guys are on the same page for the most part. And so making
that's a whole other topic for another day, is the co-parenting.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you're talking about serious things like that, I do feel like my kids' dads, like, we're pretty much on the same page there, and we do have those conversations about, like, what's important for each of us to share with our kids, like, through that experience. And it does feel good to have that relationship where you can talk about those things and then you bring it back, like, as a whole. So, not saying, oh, you shouldn't be having sex and you shouldn't be thinking about girls. I mean, they're at that age. They're going to be doing that.
I'm just wondering, because I feel like my approach has been very similar to yours, like making sure they understand their anatomy and, you know, using the real words, and it's not like something to giggle about. Even like nudity, like, if, you know, like, my youngest is a exhibitionist. So if she gets out of the tub or whatever, if she ain't get a towel, if she get out and walks to get her towel, like, it's not something to laugh about, or like, it's her body. We all have bodies. These are natural things. But thinking about how that will change as they get older, as they start dating, like, what the conversations are around that, is a little overwhelming. But I feel like I have a plan, I guess. But you just never know.
It's just like a lot of life, you're just winging it.
Yes.
So much of life, you are just winging it. So I feel like you can do like all the research and you can write it out what I'm going to say when this happens. And then when it happens, you might still be just sitting there stuck for a minute, like, you know? And I feel like you can always revisit though. You know,
That's
hey,
true.
You remember that conversation we had today? I just wanted to take some time to kind of expound on that.
And that's so important.
Let's talk. Or let's like a follow-up.
Facts.
A follow-up.
Because I feel like I don't know, me as a mother, I feel sometimes you have this like pressure to like have the answers now or like seem wise and sage. And so people end up just saying anything. And then you feel some type of way about backtracking. But then, and you feel some type of way about being like, I'm not sure. But like you just have to get comfortable with that. Like,
I don't know.
have all the answers. You're not going to know the answer to every single question they ask every single time. Like,
and I think it's okay. A lot of times I will say, I don't know. You should Google it. I will definitely say that.
You Google it, homeboy.
I think that when I say things like that, 9 times out of 10, at least one of them is just going to roll their eyes and go on about their business. And that's like, you know, like random facts and things like that. But who has it all together? Who knows everything? It's okay to tell your kids, I don't know.
It really is.
Let's figure it out. Let's look it up. Let's do some research.
Because I feel like that also speaks to like our own humanity. You know what I'm saying? And like lets our kids know that like we make mistakes or we don't know everything or we're not God. Somebody, I think it was another podcast I listened to. It might have been Crystal. But she was like, we grew up, and a lot of times kids grow up looking at their parents like these God-like figures in their lives, right?
Yes.
They're perfect and this is what I should be like and they do everything right. But that can be detrimental to you too.
It can.
So if they're able to recognize that like we're humans, and then my favorite Kev on stage always be like, parents are just people that had sex. Like,
basically.
Literally. And some of us make these kids on accident. So we're
just as dumb as y'all. I don't know, bruh.
We had sex and didn't even do it right.
Whew.
So, yeah, we make mistakes too. I did have a question for you, Frank.
Oh, gosh.
Because you were a teenage parent, and we talked about that before. So, how do you feel like have you discussed that with your kids?
Yes, and so I'll be very vulnerable in this right now. So, I feel like...
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No. Because I think about this, and I think I've thought about this even more as I'm raising a teenager now. And so
I feel like I would be so scared.
Yes, so I had my oldest son like 3 days shy of my 18th birthday, waddled across the stage to graduation and everything. But
I was there.
So I've like gone back and forth between how often I mentioned I was a teen parent, because I don't want him to feel like he was a mistake and like he ruined my life. So it's for me, it's like finding that balance where you're like, I don't want you to be a teen parent. I also tell my kids, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better. I know my kids do want to be like me in some aspect because they'll say that, but be better and do better. You know, protect yourself.
Yeah.
I want to see you, you know, yes, I did go to college and I graduated from school, but to be able to live your life.
Yeah.
As a child, like, be a child as long as you can.
I feel it.
Have less responsibilities for as long as you can. Like, just, you know, be able to live. And then when you do have kids, you don't have to struggle like you've seen me struggle in so many different areas. So for me, it's definitely like supporting him and encouraging him and trying to educate him, but not in a way where he feels I ruined my mom's life. Like I was such a negative part of her life, because he was such a positive part. Because I feel like if I did not have my son, Yolanda, I don't even know. But like, me and his dad were high school sweethearts, so you know, like I won't out there being too crazy. Yeah. But as the world would call it. But you know, like I had a steady boyfriend. But geez, like if I did not have him, I might have went off to college, and God knows, who knows?
Might have ended up having him anyway.
Right after that, you know? I don't know. So I feel like he's definitely taught me so many lessons. Yeah. He saved me in a sense. Because I didn't have anybody to like really have those conversations with, to really explain like all of the different things that come with having sex and being young out here having sex. Like it's definitely like, it's different.
It is. And I think like you want your kids to be able to be vulnerable with you. And it's so hard to be vulnerable as a teenager, mm-hmm. especially with somebody who is an authority figure in your life. Mm-hmm. Like if you feel like they're constantly going to, you know, break your legs or or whatever. Like,
all I saw in my head.
But if you feel like that, then you're less likely to come to them when you like make a mistake, and that's any mistake, or if you know have done something that you feel like is outside of their values. Mm. It makes it so much less likely that you're going to come to them for help. Mm-hmm. How long did you wait to tell your mama you was pregnant?
Lord have mercy. That's a story for another day. I think, y'all, Lisa got me being so vulnerable today. Yeah.
I just want to know because I feel like this.
And I will share because my mom.
I just want to know how long.
I'll share because my mom and I have had this conversation. I think I was. I had to have been every bit somewhere between 3 and 5, 3 and 4 months.
Did you know what you were having already?
No.
Okay.
So there was like even this lady that would like come into the school.
So the school already knew?
After a certain while, yeah, the school knew. I don't even remember like in what order everything happened. But they were like bringing this lady into the school to like meet with all the pregnant girls because there were quite a few. Shout out to y'all because y'all are doing wonderful. You guys are beautiful. These kids are great. I'm so proud of us. But yeah, like there was this lady coming into school. I was on National Honor Society. I remember I had to like do this full on speech of like why they needed to like not kick me out. There was
of the school or NHS?
NHS. There was also a conversation of, you know, you're pregnant. Do you want to go to this other school over here where we send our pregnant girls? Nope. I'm gonna stay right here and I'm gonna get that advanced diploma. I'm gonna walk across y'all's stage because I did this hard work here, so I'm gonna stay right here. You know, it was definitely.
You better advocate for yourself,
okay, honey.
Pregnant and all, honey.
Pregnant your senior year. Like it was definitely like a life-changing thing. It was. I felt so many different emotions. Like I feel like I was emotional all the time, not just because of the hormones, like how embarrassing it is. Like, oh gosh, I look fat. I can only wear certain things. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, you know, you can only fit so much. And then like just the division that it caused within the family, like between me and my sisters, my mom, like I felt like she was so disappointed in me, and like that, I think that affected so much, like even as far as the relationship with my son's dad and just like my mental. So like having
when you have to take a deep dive into this
like when your parent is disappointed in you and like it really shows and they tell you, and when it shows like within their treatment and your interactions, that's just like a whole another thing. And I know people feel that like on different levels because of different reasons. But yeah, like I was much further along before I told my mom. And I didn't even tell her verbally. I wrote her a letter, laid it down, and waited for her to read it. And then we could come back and have this conversation. Because I won't finna tell her.
Oh my God.
No ma'am, no sir. It was such shame.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't have the balls to do that.
I feel that. Definitely not at that age, child. Bye.
Yeah, so.
Well, I feel like
Lisa made me tell my life story. God.
I think we're gonna have to do an episode where we get deep in that thing. Because I have more questions.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I feel like the goal is that we want our kids to feel like they can come to us. Mm-hmm. And so the conversation that you have has to be like real and honest, and you got to be vulnerable a little bit too.
Yeah.
So no matter really what your views are as far as like boys versus girls and how you present sex and sexuality, there's that piece I feel like is the most important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think there's definitely, I as a girl definitely felt like boys were more sexual. Mm-hmm. It was just automatically assumed. Yeah. And that like they were supposed to initiate sex.
Yeah. And they already knew what they were doing.
Yeah. And so I feel like that kind of shaped who I was within sex early on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be like, what is it, like a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets? Yeah.
In high school, thinking that you supposed to be a freak in the sheets.
That's a mess. But it was like,
how often were you even in the sheets?
And it was just like, but even like no matter what's happening behind closed doors, like you have to keep this persona of
yes,
I am above all of these things.
Even now.
Honey, now I'll be like, you don't know me, honey. I'm holding it back. My feelings is out there. But yeah, so I feel like that really shaped things for like how I viewed sex for years. Mm-hmm. Until I really became comfortable in my own self.
Yeah.
To be like, this what I want to do. This how I'm gonna do this thing.
Yeah, deciding that for yourself, like how empowering is
that? Was liberating.
Yeah,
that is liberating. I do really feel so. I feel like it's important to, and that's why I like what you said about like not using scare tactics or whatever, because we need to empower our kids too with their own sexuality and like let them know that they have choices, and we hope that they're gonna make healthy ones for themselves. But like, you control this early. Like, we don't want them to. And that goes back to one of my faves when they're young. Is if you don't want to hug, you ain't got to. If you don't want to kiss, you ain't got to. Honey, y'all just gonna be mad about it.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa's daughter act funny, sure do. And she gonna act funny as long as she wants to.
Don't touch me.
Facts. Like, letting them know that they have autonomy over their own bodies is important.
Right.
Don't let nobody else dictate what you gonna do with your body.
Yeah. Come here, let me hold you. What?
Yeah.
Get off me! Jeez.
No, with the eyes closed and scream. Get off me!
I feel like I've done that I've definitely done that as an adult.
Even like tickling, anything.
Are you really like? Don't grab me. If you don't know me,
honey,
don't even get so close.
Fellas, ladies, whoever needs to hear this,
stop grabbing them in the club like that.
Don't grab me by my arm. You got me messed up.
You allowed to get bold.
And your girl love a crop, belly and all. I'll rock me a crop top. Don't you touch my stomach, boy.
They're like trying to come across the top.
Don't touch me.
Who told y'all let Boosie train y'all? Keep on. Keep on letting Boosie train y'all.
Facts. I was definitely sexually harassed a lot in middle school. Because your girl been well endowed. And them little boys, oh my God. And I feel like the teachers didn't even ever really say anything. It was just like expected.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's not okay, guys. Stop touching boobs. Stop touching people's tails.
Stop. We can't be out here teaching our young boys that, like, it's okay to objectify others. Because it's not.
Right.
And specifically women, actually. It's okay to objectify women. That's what we're teaching them.
Well, if she dressed like that, she asking for... stop it.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Stop it.
Lord.
That's also another thing that I raise my kids like, I don't care how she's dressed. I don't care, like how she's treating her body. You're going to treat her and her body with respect.
I know that's right.
I don't play that. And I make sure I have these conversations. I say these same exact words. Everybody doesn't have the same upbringing as you. You don't know what this person is going through, what their self-esteem or any of that looks like, what her home life looks like, trauma, any of that. So it doesn't matter.
Respect.
What they say, from the rooter to the tutor. You're going to treat all of them with respect. I don't care how they carry themselves.
I feel it. That's real.
And that's just what it is.
Right. And I don't care about your opinion on how she carry herself. You
exactly
be respectful. Period.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, these kids. That was one, I think, because they just changed the dress code.
Yes, so, yeah.
And they can wear
whatever. A couple years ago.
Yeah. Some people was real mad about it, and I was like, let these kids wear what they want to wear. I used to hate getting stopped in the hallway for having a tank top, and it wasn't wide enough.
That's always been idiotic.
I was like, are you kidding? How you going to try to tell me my clothes are a problem?
Yeah. And
that's, once again, going back to making women, girls responsible for a man feeling...
Yeah.
And a little shoulder? A little shoulder? Come on now.
Like, where are we?
Honey.
What times are we living in?
My mama used to go to the school every week for my sister.
Jeez. I remember working in a high school, and it used to be so annoying. Like, one of my kids, like, would always get in trouble for the rips in their jeans. Oh, you got to wear some shorts or something under it. It's a thigh, y'all.
I'm glad they letting these kids wear their clothes around here.
It's a rip and it's a thigh.
Yeah.
I promise
we gotta learn to
control
ourselves.
Control your own body.
Yes.
Stop trying to control somebody else's.
Friend.
Okay?
A word. Control your body and stop trying to control somebody else.
Worry about yourself, sweetheart.
In the name of controlling your body. Oh, well, my body is having a reaction to you in that skirt, so you need to change your skirt.
No.
What?
Remove yourself.
Honey, I can't.
Jeez.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, a wrap up. A few things to take away, because I feel like we talked about a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like the main thing is that we want our kids to be able to be open and vulnerable with us. One thing, too, that I personally had to do, and I actually talked to someone else about, was considering my own thoughts and feelings before I go into a conversation with my kids about sex and sexuality. So really examining yourself, how you feel about these things, how you have felt about these things, how that's changed, whatever, and like where that came from, Lord. What is the root of it, right? Because are you just teaching things just because you heard it somewhere or what? So really thinking about what is important to you, why it's important to you, and then how you want to present that to your kids. Because I've had people who feel like, it's a problem that my child says penis at 5 years old. And it's like, really? Is it a problem? Yeah. That she knows that, some people have penises and some people have, like, why? Why is that an issue? And so I've been like, why does that make you uncomfortable with her saying penis?
Have you ever gotten an answer?
It's most of the time, it's just like, it just ain't right. There's no real reason for it. So I think if you do that introspection yourself before you even are trying to teach anybody anything or have a conversation about something.
I'm going to hold some of that in for another day because my mouth over here was like... Okay.
Yeah, but for real, right? You feel me.
Yeah.
I know you feel me, friend.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so often people just have feelings about things that they've never really examined why they have.
They don't really even, you don't understand yourself, but you're telling someone else like what to do with their kids and how to raise their kids, or you're putting your own stuff off on your kids and somebody else's too.
Right. You're projecting.
Cut it out.
And I'm going to need you to just
dive deep into yourself. Figure yourself out.
And that's with a lot of things too with your kids. Honey, you need to figure out the why behind your reasoning before you try to go and preach to somebody else about why they need to do it.
Yes.
Because half of the time you ain't really got no foundation for it.
Right. And I go back and forth with myself about this. What are you telling your kids to do, but you're not doing it yourself? Ooh. So are you being a good model? You're telling your kids, do this, do that. Do as I say and not as I do. No, your kids are going to do what you do.
That don't even work. Like, let's be real. You know better. You know that don't work.
It don't. They're sponges. They absorb all of it.
Everything. That's why my child was cussing in preschool.
I think all of our kids said a cuss word at school.
I was like, oh, Lord, I got to change my way.
Yeah. Period, Pooh. Ain't that what she say?
Oh, my God. And that's not even me. And that's on period. I'll be like, if you don't get out my room. Oh, my God. These kids are mad. I can't.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Being open and honest. Yeah. We talked about that.
Don't be afraid to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's look into that.
Yeah. Let's Google it. Right here, right now.
Google me, baby.
We always got the phone. Acknowledge the awkwardness. You like, all right.
Bruh. The awkwardness? I'm going to look. My kids will tell you when we come into the conversation, I know this is weird. Like, you don't want to have this conversation with me, but, we're going to have to talk about it. And, I think working with kids also, like, sometimes when, you got male to female, and it's like, I know you don't want to talk about these things with me, but these are some of the things we're going to have to address.
We here.
I'm all you got right now, brother. So let's get into it. And, normally it ends up working out. However, if you do have that male support, please utilize that. Also, be careful with who you allow because we don't want no Boosies helping us and supporting us with our sons. Well, we don't. I don't know
that's right.
about everybody else. Here. But, being careful and making sure your supports have your kids' best interests at heart.
Yeah, and making sure y'all are on the same page before y'all go into a conversation, get to arguing in front of the kids. Huh?
Right. Like, let's talk about this first. Like, how are we going to present this?
Yeah. And I just feel like there are no bounds. Like you said earlier, you know what I'm saying? Basically teaching them the same way, regardless of their sex. Mm-hmm. Like, what was it? Something that like went viral where this girl was talking about, she was the only girl in her family. And I think she had 4 brothers, but they were like so sweet to her around the time when she would get her period. And it was because her family like talked about that with all the kids. Mm-hmm. And they talked about, how difficult it can be sometimes when you have your period and you just feel down or you don't want to be bothered or you want your chocolate or whatever, like all the stereotypes. And she was like, one of her brothers would always bring her like a candy bar or whatever. And that's so sweet.
It's just teaching them to be sensitive to her feelings.
Yes. And you want them to understand on both sides, like anatomy, what people are going through, what people are experiencing, either way.
Yes.
You don't want them to just be completely blind. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're going to grow up and be in an opposite sex relationship. They have to have some understanding and background. Mm-hmm. Honey.
I think that is so important to talk to your kids about how to interact with other people of the same sex or the opposite sex.
Yes.
And, like you said, being sensitive to what someone else is going through.
Yes.
So for my kids, they're 2 boys. They're 4 years apart. So being sensitive to the different stages that they're in, like the different emotional things that they're going through. And I don't play with my kids about bullying and things like that. So when I hear it, like, that's something, I nip in the bud. And I want you to understand that everybody, and this was a recent conversation with my kids, probably yesterday. I want you to understand that when y'all roasting each other on Fortnite, you better be careful what you're saying. Because if you do or if you don't know their situation, you're not about to put this person's personal business out here because y'all butthurt over a video game or for any other reason.
Facts.
So if y'all roasting, you better keep it light.
Facts. I feel that. Because these kids is crazy, especially on these video games. And then they playing with people halfway across the world. But then they got their little friends from down the street that's also on there. And Lil Boo Boo and Timbuktu.
And they coming for each other's necks. Boy.
These kids crazy.
That's a conversation for another day also.
We got plenty of conversations. And then what you said, don't use scare tactics and be honest and vulnerable. Because kids can see through the BS.
Most definitely.
Also, somebody else was talking about like, basically how they, grew up thinking that like, they show you all these pictures of diseased body parts or whatever. And then, so if you don't see that, you just be like, all right, bet. She clean. Let's get it. We don't need a condom.
No.
I
think we've had that conversation about like let's normalize.
She's clean. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's normalize like taking a trip to the doctor or to the health department and showing your papers before you do have sex with this person. Can we just make this not a shameful thing?
Yes. It shouldn't be. Like, get tested.
Yeah.
That's encouraged. We should be getting tested. Especially, no. I used to just get tested regularly. Even if I had one partner.
Yeah.
I remember one time they were like, you have the same partner. So, and I was like, girl, I don't care. Test me.
Exactly.
You don't never know.
When you go for your yearly, when you get a new sex partner, like, go to the doctor.
Get tested. And I feel like men, they don't want to get tested. And I be like, what is wrong with you?
You clean, I'm clean.
Yeah, boy, if you don't get tested, bruh, that kills me.
That's another conversation. Like,
that is too many men. Too many. Drag, kicking and screaming. I'm like, boy, if you don't get tested out here, what's wrong with you?
Ooh.
But I feel like, a lot of people too are just scared to know. Because they know that their behaviors have not been safe. Be safe.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
You got to find out. And, it's people living with all kinds of things these days. Find out. Take your meds. Do what you need to do. Be honest about it.
Yeah.
Move forward.
You got this.
Lord. What else?
So I think that does it for us today.
I think so. I got to get this child to her little practice. Lord.
Thank you guys for joining us again.
Yes. This has been a great conversation, friend.
Yeah.
Y'all let us know, what has worked for you in the past, having conversations with kids, what you're thinking about if you haven't already had a conversation. What were some of your own thoughts growing up? All that stuff.
What has been your personal experiences with raising your kids and having these conversations?
Yes. Jump in the conversation, people. We're here. One thing that I did want to recommend too is this Instagram account that I follow. It's called Sex Positive Families. I will say that she's a very open-minded when it comes to sex and sexuality. So there might be some stuff that's not everybody's cup of tea. But I feel like it's a really good resource. And they have like a whole pamphlet or whatever that you can order, like that talks about at each age, how you introduce conversations on sex and sexuality and all that. So that was a really good resource. I actually downloaded the pamphlet.
Okay.
So yeah. But I really like it. I'm pretty open-minded, so it don't bother me. But you take what works for you and leave the rest. But yeah, share, your points of view, your experiences. We love to hear from you. Outside of that,
Thank you for joining us.
Have a great week, people. Bye-bye.
Bye.